Jamaica is open for business, and over 1,200 members of the diaspora have been exposed to those opportunities this week. 3 days of discussions have looked at partnerships in the health and education sectors, as well as the Global Logistics Hub and the Downtown Kingston Redevelopment Program, just to name a few. With networking out of the way, nation building continues. I am Adrian Atkinson, and you're watching Jamaica Magazine. Coming up, investments to pursue in the cultural and creative industries, plus improving facilities to stimulate learning and motor skills of special needs children, and a treat as we prepare to celebrate the anniversary of Emancipation. Please stay with us. Conjunctivitis, otherwise known as pink eye, is caused by viruses which enter the eye through contaminated surfaces such as your hand, wash rags, cosmetics, handkerchiefs, contact lenses, and other personal items. Symptoms include redness, watery, itchy, and/or burning eyes, as well as hypersensitivity to light and grainy feeling in the eyes. To prevent pink eye infection, do not share makeup, eye drops, wash rags, towels, or pillowcases. Also, avoid coming into contact with persons with pink eye. If you experience symptoms of pink eye, wash your hands with soap and water regularly. Avoid rubbing the eyes and see your doctor. Do not attend school, work, or other crowded places until the infection clears up. For more information, visit the Ministry of Health website moh.gov.jm.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, July 27. Government is to review Jamaica's foreign affairs and foreign trade policy to strategically align them to the country's growth and development targets. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the disclosure to members of Jamaica's diplomatic community in London during a meeting at the High Commission in the United Kingdom on Wednesday. The Prime Minister was en route to Singapore for an official working visit. He told the Jamaican foreign officers that the country's foreign policy must support the economic and social developments of the country. Adding to that, he stressed that government must go out into the global market of countries and build strategic relationships that complement activities in the country. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the sector is looking to surpass its projected earnings of approximately $2.8 billion by year end. Earnings as at June is $1.8 billion, which represents an 8% increase compared to the same period last year. Minister Bartlett, who was addressing Day 3 of the Jamaica 55 Diaspora Conference, said that with the increased earnings, focus must now turn to retaining more of that foreign exchange in the country.
When we earn $3 billion in Jamaica, and at current retention level of 30%, we will be having $1 billion retained in the economy. But our projection is $5 billion by 2021. And our projection is to lift through the linkages the retention level from 30% to 40%. Do the math, and you will realize that if we get the 5 billion arrivals, we'll be retaining $2 billion in our economy.
To achieve this, he called for greater investment focus on agriculture, gastronomy, and manufacturing.
So what we have to do is to build the capacity of our people to produce those things that are required, and consequently, the dollar stays here.
2,300 young persons are to be employed during the summer by the island's local authorities. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie says the young people will be employed for 2 weeks commencing mid-August.
Each division will be required to recommend 10 young persons, and we are hoping that they will look at persons going to school who will need assistance to go back to school.
The summer youth employees will assist the local authorities to complete an audit of the country's street lights and will work with the Poor Relief Department to identify vulnerable persons living within communities. They will be paid approximately $12,000 for the period. Minister Mackenzie says the selection process will be operated in a transparent and accountable manner. In other news, the local government minister says the disposal of solid waste by commercial entities is to be reviewed. He says it is hoped that the business community will be better engaged on the matter, pointing out that this review is part of a slew of programs to transform the operations of the National Solid Waste Management Authority. Among new programs being rolled out over the next couple of months is an updated garbage collection schedule. Contact information for sanitation employees will also be disseminated.
Nobody will be out of reach. And there are times when I get messages on my phone about uncollected garbage. And by the time I call the executive director, call the officer in charge of a region, I am told, Minister, we are on it now, we're working on it.
Minister Mackenzie was addressing a recent meeting with sanitation officers of the National Solid Waste Management Authority. The University of the West Indies has launched a Faculty of Sports, a first in the Caribbean.
The launch of the UWI Faculty of Sport is a major milestone for our region and indeed for our university, as it marks a reaffirmation of our commitment to the Caribbean people to endeavor to pursue all prospects of development and growth.
Representing the Minister of Sport, National Security State Minister Pernell Charles Jr. said it was a true reflection of sport development's value as a catalyst for greater economic growth.
We envision that through this faculty, we will experience even greater success in our athletes' performance in general and in particular at our campus here.
And finally, Culture Minister Olivia Grange says the Jamaica 55 legacy projects will serve as a stimulus for development while preserving the country's rich culture and creative expressions. One of the end goals, she says, is to transform Jamaica into a cultural and artistic destination.
They will provide economic opportunities for more than 600,000 youth who are between the ages of 15 and 24, and the hundreds of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, many of which are creative businesses. The objective is to deepen the spirit of patriotism and nationalism of all Jamaicans.
Minister Grange was unveiling the projects to Jamaicans living overseas as she addressed the 2017 Diaspora Conference on Wednesday. She revealed that approximately $362 million was needed to complete the legacy projects over the next 3 to 5 years. They include major sport infrastructure projects, as well as entertainment and culture, national monuments, special publications, and gender infrastructure initiatives. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Jamaica's culture is certainly an abundant source of entertainment. But do you quite realize it's an equally rich source of wealth? Government does, and so do Jamaican nationals living in other lands. In fact, the investment potential for Jamaica's cultural and creative industries was a major talking point at this week's Diaspora Conference. Here's a taste of what they and you ought to know.
Jamaica has been entertaining the world for decades.
And Usain Bolt is moving away, and Jamaica retain their title, 36.85.
And our national icons in sports and entertainment are not just giving us bragging rights, but business opportunities. It's estimated that our music, festivals, sports, film and television, art and craft, and other segments of our creative industry contribute approximately 5% to Jamaica's gross domestic product. That's 15 to 20 million US dollars in revenue each year. Small change when we think of what's possible. In the global reggae music industry alone, the recording sales is worth between 2 and 4 billion US dollars.
At the same time, the estimated value of the Jamaican music industry is approximately 130 million US dollars. So there is room for growth and for us to get a bigger slice of the pie.
And Jamaica is setting the stage to get a bigger slice of the pie in all the key sectors. The creative industry's business plan has proposed how the country could achieve this goal if it builds on existing models, improves coordination between production and distribution, and leverages value added. The government has also dedicated resources to growing the animation industry. Through training programs and competitions, more of our young people are acquiring the skills and experience to make their mark. And in 2016, Propeller, a film development initiative, was launched by JAMPRO to give more international exposure, training, and support to local filmmakers. The Jamaica Film Commission is also exploring how barriers can be removed to help local filmmakers utilize the co-production treaty which exists between the UK and Jamaica. Further developments in Jamaica's creative industry include the review of the culture policy to ensure that it markets the all-inclusive Jamaican experience. Jamaica is also celebrating 2 special designations that have increased our global competitiveness: the designation of the Blue and John Crow Mountains as a World Heritage Site and Kingston as a creative city. Jamaica, the entertainment capital of the world, open for business, ready for expertise and investments in our cultural and creative industries.
We Jamaicans are a hard-working set of people, and we at the JIS know this. That's why after a hard day's work, you can simply pop onto our website, jis.gov.jm, and be in the know with government news and information. JIS, your information hub.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security has been investing in the welfare of children from birth to age 6 with varying learning and physical disabilities. Through the Early Stimulation Plus program, specialized services are given to these children free of cost to assist with their growth in learning and development of motor skills. Let's hear more about the program and the testimonials from the parents.
I can see clearly now, the rain is falling. I can see all obstacles in my way. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day.
The Early Stimulation Program is an intervention assessment catering to the various developmental needs of children with disabilities from birth to 6 years old. The program operates through the Ministry of Labour and Social Security under its Integrated Social Protection and Labour Program.
The Early Stimulation Program is an excellent program, and it provides intervention for children with developmental challenges from 0 to 6 years old, whether physical or mental challenges. It identifies and it intervenes at an early age.
The program is to assist these children who are sometimes left behind, disregarded, stigmatized, to reach their highest potential and to be mainstream, whether into the special education program or the regular education system.
Approximately 30,000 children have been assisted by the Early Stimulation Program, ESP, since its inception in 1975, and over 6,000 of them have been placed in regular primary schools or special education centers. Children in the program have varying types of developmental disabilities and are all ably catered for through intervention strategies employed by specialized professionals.
Our stimulation exercises look at least at 5 developmental domains. They look at the language of the child, the cognitive, the social and emotional, the growth and fine motor adaptive. This helps us to sort of set their program and to take them through the developmental process.
Children who are brought to the early stimulation program are usually referred by the hospitals, infant and basic schools, and by social workers and guidance counselors.
When they are referred, what we do is a developmental assessment to see where they are, and then we put together a program tailored to meet their developmental needs.
The work of the ESP is not limited to the centre. Child development officers are also in the field, working with children at schools, nurseries, and also in communities through home visits.
They receive other assistance through the ministry, the PAD program, for adaptive aids, wheelchairs, eyeglasses. They are part of the PAD program, which gives further assistance. Also through small rehabilitation grants that assist the families of these children to better help themselves.
A number of improvement projects are being implemented, which will provide the students with resources to improve the quality of their learning. Of note is the new $87 million multi-purpose facility built at the ESP location on Hanover Street, downtown Kingston, to replace the building that was there. Funding was provided through the Inter-American Development Bank's Integrated Social Protection and Labor Program.
This modern center represents and provides a new lease on life for children with disabilities whose well-being and welfare will be further enhanced. The ESP currently provides care and support to over 1,500 children with disabilities island-wide, and the services are available to persons from all strata of society.
This is a very significant milestone because it's the only service of its kind that's provided by the government of Jamaica, where children can be provided with assessment and early intervention, and it also helps the children to benefit from the services that will help them to be the best that they can be.
The new facility now boasts an administrative block, assessment clinic, staff room, multi-purpose meeting room, receptionist and waiting area, assessment rooms, sensory and speech therapy room, physiotherapy room, green space, and play area.
Children, when you see their faces, then you know that they are satisfied, and it will only help them to fulfill their potential. In terms of the staff, they are elated, they're excited, they're happy, and of course feel appreciated for the work that they have been doing over these years. And so this will only help them to do more and to be more productive.
Once you visit one of these homes, you can feel the genuine love oozing from the people who teach them. They're not called teachers, they're called aunts. And the children have bonded with them in such a positive way.
I don't know how to manage without this place. Just don't know how to manage. The staff at the stimulation program, they let our babies feel like human beings. You feel special, Words can't explain.
My child both feet were twisted. And this program has helped him to get off the twisted foot because he couldn't walk. He's now walking, running, he's all over the place, on his toes. This program has done marvelous for him.
She coming here, she wasn't doing anything but carrying her to the early stimulation. She started creeping, she started holding on, she started getting up off her own. And it made a big difference to me because when I used to have her home, she wasn't doing anything at all. But carrying her here and to the physiotherapy, yes, it's work. So no more crying for me. This stimulation here helps us because we are poor, we can't afford, the other places. So this helps us to know more about our child and also to stimulate our child to get better. And we meet other parents that is suffering the same way that we are feeling, and help us to get over our problems. They take us to seminars, differently from our sessions that we have here at this building. So he has improved a lot.
And it's not me alone see it either, don't it, Si?
And though the program has been reaping positive results, there are plans to further expand its offerings.
Early stimulation program reaches approximately 1,500 children. Currently, we have 3 facilities, one on Hanover Street, which is our main facility where we do assessment of our children. We also have another facility on Austin Avenue in Kingston, and that facility is the Early Childhood Center educational facility. We also have a center in Portland that was opened last year, and most recently we just opened another facility in Catherine Hall, Montego Bay. Our facility at Austin Avenue will also benefit from support from the IDB, where we'll be expanding that facility to be able to cater to an additional 40 children. We also have plans in the future, when we're working with our partners, to open a center in St. Anne, and as time goes on, we hope to expand where we have at least one facility in each parish.
The ESP also facilitates the provision of field placements for tertiary level students in the fields of physical therapy, psychology, social work, and early childhood education.
As the ministry continues to serve children with special needs and their families, our aim is to build on the foundation of this assessment center and multipurpose facility and strengthen the pillars of accessibility and range. For in serving our community of persons with different abilities, we can achieve a desired society which is inclusive, participatory, and empowering for all.
I would like to say to parents, don't sit there and wait saying you don't have the money or you can't afford to. It is free. Come in and have your child assessed and begin the intervention program with your children with special needs. The sooner the better. Don't sit and wait.
For further information on the early stimulation program, call 922-5585 or visit their office at 95 Hanover Street in Kingston.
In less than a week, as a nation, we will pause to reflect upon one of the most significant moments in our development as a people of the black, green and gold. As we gear up to look back on the journey to full freedom, let's visit one of the buildings that stood witness to the struggle and listen to the lessons echoing within its walls.
It was our own national hero, the Right Excellent Sam Sharp, an enslaved man and a freedom fighter who said, "I would rather die upon yonder gallows than live in slavery." That sentiment was also shared by many other slaves. But the fight for freedom and the hope for victory brought liberation to many. Right here in Jamaica, the movement to end slavery was very active, and landmarks across the island document this part of our history.
We are on the Emancipation Trail, and we're looking at the symbolic parts of Jamaica which relate to emancipation, a very important change of status in our country. We're here in the Filippo Baptist Church compound in Spanish Town. Spanish Town is a very old city, founded in 1539, I believe. And this particular site was where the Baptists created a congregation in 1818. And this church, built by the Baptists at the time of Reverend Filippo, was part of the congregation that was very supportive of the move to emancipate all enslavement. And that is a magnificent building going back probably close to 200 years. This church is very historic. Right here under this tamarind tree and identified by this plaque is the slave chains which were buried on August the 1st, 1838. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Deacon Ivan O'Connor, a member of this congregation, who is going to tell us some more about this very historic site and its relationship to emancipation.
I understand that part of the Declaration of Emancipation was read from the steps of this church. And a deep hole was dug right here, and all the chains that were available were put in there and covered. And a tamarind tree was put there as a monument. I understand that the first tamarind tree was destroyed by the 51 hurricane, but it was replaced. And it stands here now as a monument where people can come and get tamarind and remember the slavery chains.
And touch the monument
right.
as part of our experience
right. It is here
of
as a
what
reminder.
emancipation was all about.
Right.
But I also think we have to remind ourselves that the original official declaration was read from the steps of King's House,
That's
the facade which is still in front of the square.
That square is Emancipation Square, which is also in Spanish Town and just a few meters away from the Filippo Baptist Church. Here was once the town center. Other important buildings in the square include the old House of Assembly, Rodney's Memorial, and the old courthouse. The area was severely damaged by fire, as well as the 1692 earthquake. But parts of the buildings have since been restored and put to use. Back over at the Filippo Baptist Church,
we want to reaffirm how important the Baptist movement and denomination was to emancipation. They were major players in persuading the English government to declare free at last, emancipation on the 1st of August, 1838.
And it is believed that the chains of slaves were buried at the Filippo Baptist Church due to its close proximity to Emancipation Square and the unrelenting movement by the Baptist Church to put an end to slavery.
Somebody said some time ago, how can we write the history of Jamaica without including the Baptists? The Baptists were one of the churches that were very integral to the teaching of the slaves and emancipation. James Filippo was one of the persons who was integral in getting emancipation for the slaves in Jamaica.
While emancipation was declared for slaves, their conditions were not improved. So the movement for a more just society was challenged by Paul Bogle and George William Gordon. They were also part of the Baptist movement and later became two of our national heroes. As a result of this involvement, Baptist work in Jamaica became an enduring symbol of the church's opposition to slavery and all other forms of injustice.
This building was put up sometime about 1827 thereabout and has been maintained over time. It's a natural heritage site, and so the National Heritage Trust has control over what happens here. Right after emancipation, James Filippo established free villages like in Sligoville, in parts of Clarendon, and also established churches. So this church is steeped in our history in Jamaica.
We've come to the end of our show, but we'll have another one for you tomorrow. Until then, click on our website at jis.gov.jm to stay connected. And while you're online, send your feedback to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.